Hey guys, DM Zybold here. Just taking you through what I do when I'm making a dungeon or cave map. So if we go new, 1080p I use as my template. Paper is the theme, landscape. Okay, this brings the page up. I then go into the landmass wizard, change it to world. Set detail in the middle somewhere, maybe 3 or 4. Generate. Let's generate another one. It's a bit small. Okay. And so now what I'll do is I'll use the raise landmass tool. Join some of these things together. Where I want to have another room, I will make space for another room. So much like the same way we did the islands in our last video, we then go around the edges of the cave and make it look fairly natural for how it's supposed to be. I usually try and get rid of all these little dots because, I mean, what looks good as an island doesn't look good as a cave, and we're going to make it look like a fairly hard edge in a little bit. So just smooth off all these edges. Pop a room just here. Do the edges of this last one, and then pop that in. And like so, we have the basic outline of our cave. We will just put an entrance into it as well. And there you have it. So now what I usually do is I click on land, change the coastline color to be pretty close to the same as the background. BAC 5B897 looks pretty close. Then the landmass outline color we go to be slightly darker. And then we turn the landmass outline blend up to a point that we think looks about right. I then set the ground texture to be worn, just because I think it looks a little bit better. Jump into labels, grab a box tool, just put a couple of these in that we're going to use in a little while. Size 28, Lancelot, it's not too bad. Caverns of Ithmandus, put that there. Font size usually go up to about 34, 36 for the title. Map key 32, and then down to about 28. And so I am holding down Shift and pressing Enter to create a new line. This is only available in 1.02 beta 2, I think. So if you don't have that, or you may have to wait until it comes out in the actual main release. I don't mind running a beta from time to time. Makes life a little bit more exciting. And we pop this into position over here, and so this is going to be our map key. We'll jump into symbols, trees, because we want this to be a little bit swampy. I'm thinking like lizard people kind of a dungeon. I tend to use the marshy grass, and then just pass it around a fair bit on the ground, trying not to go outside because it will not look quite right. Okay, I'll grab some rocks. Place this one just here. A few of these smaller rocks around it. Big one in the main room. Maybe just there. And the other thing we want to do is make a camp. Advanced, mirror the symbols just so the camps look a little different. I'll grab our labels again. This time we want to put some outline colour and potentially turn the font size up. And so we're going to put one there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we got 11. Okay, and so we'll grab the symbols, and we're going to use the marshy grass a little bit more, just because the whole of this dungeon is going to be lizard men, and so it's not terrible to have marsh all the way through it. Apart from that little camp, which I think we're going to use as goblins. So one thing I will just place down is field 5 fence flat. I sometimes use these if I'm doing like a slave pens or something like that, which is what this is going to be. In probably the end fight. Okay, so labels. 1. Goblin raiding party. 2. Giant lizard. 4. Dead Lizard Man, number 4. Okay, so 3 is going to be the shrine. 5 is going to be a goblin camp. Pit trap at 9. Where is 7? Priests of Ithmandus at 7. Missed the space before injured. Injured goblin at 8. 9. The Prophet Ithmandus. 10. Slave pens and at 11 we will put a defaced dwarven shrine. Okay, so then we need to make this a little bit wider, like so. And we will add in the shrine that we just mirrored. Okay, injured goblin, so that does not too bad. Okay, so from there we are pretty much finished, other than putting in the lines. To do that, we'll export. Caverns of Ithmandus, exporting image. Okay, so now we'll do test maps, Caverns of Ithmandus, edit with Gimp. Okay, so we want to create a layer, call it grid, transparent in the background. We want to make sure it's on the top. We want to go to filters, render, pattern, grid. We'll change the lines to be a bit of a dark grey or a greyish colour. Spacing we changed to 40 for 1080p. This you kind of want to play around with to get the right scale for your map, but I've found that 40 pixels wide is about right for me, and the width of the lines at about 1. So okay, that creates the lines over the map, but we don't want it on the outside of the cave. So what we'll do is we go back down to the caverns, and we'll press this thing here which says a fuzzy select tool. We will make the grid disappear, and we will grab up the inside of the cave as best we can. So I'm holding down the shift key, and we're going to grab as much of the inside as we can, because that is then going to be the areas that we don't make the grid disappear from. So I think that's pretty well selected. Just keep selecting on the bits until you think you've got it all. Then we go select, invert, so it inverts it around the other way. Make the grid show up, select the grid layer, select the eraser, turn your tooltip to the hard edges, then you go into the open tool options dialog, change the size to 400, Then back on here, so we just want to make sure that we've got grid selected only, and you'll see that it only deletes from the outside. We do mess up that bit at the top with the at 11, so I would probably just redo that. So then we would just go select none, and then go back. Then we can just make that grid disappear again. Back onto the Caverns, fuzzy select tool. There we go. Need control, not shift. Okay. Okay, keep selecting. So that's about right. I'm not sure if we will have to invert this again. I think we will. Invert. Make our grid show up. Back to the grid. Eraser. So now we're just deleting it from the areas outside of the cave. Select none. There you've got it. Caverns of Ithmandus. Cheers guys.